Hello everyone. In today's session I am going to discuss about the inheritance. So what is inheritance? Well, inheritance, as we know, inheritance is a key concept of object oriented which provide us the feature of reusability. It means with inheritance we can write the code once and use them again and again. It provides us the facility to use the code at multiple times. It just not only provide the facility of reusability, it just also allow us to mm, create or design the relation of two or multiple classes together, where the class which allowed to share their properties is defined as a parent class or base class, and the class which grab the properties of parent class is known as drive class or child class. Basically, it always represents the relation of two or more than two classes. If we talk about inheritance in C++, inheritance has different category. The first one is defined as a single inheritance. The next is defined as a multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance, multiple inheritance, multipath inheritance. So these are the category of your inheritance in C++. But in Java we cannot use the feature of multiple inheritance and multipath inheritance, because multiple and multipath both inheritance are completely depend on the reference of variable which are not supported by Java. So let's start with the single inheritance. It defines the relation of two classes only, where the class which share the property or inherit from the child class is known as base class, and the class which grab the property or drive the parent class is known as derived class. So basically it only defines the behavior of two classes, where base class always represent each and every properties or share each and every properties with their child class. This is the syntax of single inheritance, where uh, in the left side of colon we can we have to be define the drive class with the class name, and in the right side of colon we have to be use the specifier that is public, so that base class can easily share their data with the drive class. So this is the syntax of your single inheritance. Let's check it with the example. So this is the example of single inheritance, where we have a base class with two properties, that is x and y. Here we have to be put the protected instead of the private or public, because as we know, when we put private, it cannot allow to share the data with the outsider. It means when you use private compiler does not allow to move the properties from the outside of your class. It means we have to be use another specifier for sharing of the data. But if we use public, the data will be equally treated by each and every section of the program, which is not protected in object oriented concept. So in that case, here we can use the protected. In that way, if we use protected keyword allow to share the data with the drive class only, and it just protect the data from any other content or any other function which are not connected with the drive class. That's why we use protected here. Now x and y is the property of base class. Here I am using a default constructor of the drive class, where it just define the default value of x and y, which is 13 and 12, and just print that value. If we call the object of drive class, here we call the object of drive class, it will automatically drop the value of x and y by the constructor. So when you run your program, it will return the value as 13 and 12. But one more thing which we have to be find in the single inheritance is that in single inheritance we can share the properties of base class with the derived class, but we cannot share the properties of derived class with the base class. It does not consist any mutual relation between them. It just allow to share the data from the base class to derived class, but it doesn't allow to share the data from the derived class to base class. After that, the next inheritance or next type of inheritance is multi-level inheritance. As we know, single inheritance just define the relation of two existing classes only. But if we talk about multi-level inheritance, it just explain the relation of more than two classes, where the first class is defined as a base class and the last class is defined as a derived class. The middle class is always behave like an intermediate class. Why defined as intermediate class here? So the answer is just because intermediate class is a derived class for the upper base class, and it behave like a base class for the next derived class. Here we can see in the example, here we have three classes, that is college, class test and result. In that case, class test is the derived class for college class and class test is a base class for result class. In that case, it behaves like a base as well as derived class in two different format. In that's why it is defined as an intermediate class. So multi-level inheritance where multiple level of relation are exist between the classes. That's why it is defined as a multi-level inheritance. If we talk about the syntax of multi-level inheritance, it will be presented as, suppose base class, so intermediate, we have to be put the intermediate class, then public, that is the specifier, and then base class, just wait. After that, derived class, and then intermediate class. So the relation exists in this format in the multi-level inheritance. So let's check it with the example. So let's check with the example. So this is your example. Here we have three class. The first is defined as a base class, which value is x and y. The second is defined as a interclass, which derived from the base class. It has a single function input. Here the function input allowed to take the value of x and y by the keyboard. So here x and y will be entered by the input function, and then the next class is drive class, that is DE, which inherited by inter, and it has a single function, that is print, which provide the sum or which act to sum of x and y. So here it just return the result as x plus y. Now I'm going to create the object of DE, that is D, and call the input function, which is the member of interclass, to put the value of x and y, and then the print function to print the data. So when you run your program, it will ask for the number. If you put the number, it will return the result as 30. So here we can see the multi-level inheritance allow us to create a relation in different level. So this is your multi-level inheritance. In the next session, I will discuss about the next category of inheritance. Thank you.